puts us way ahead of our colleagues who are also coming into the LFP space. We already have the only facility right now, and now we're going to be able to bring it up to a capacity that is literally years ahead of anybody else.
All right, welcome back inside our proactive newsroom. Joining me now, Dan Blundell, the CEO of Nano One Materials Corp. And Dan, good to see you again. How are you?
Great to see you as well. I'm very well, thank you.
Yeah, so pretty significant news out from the company today, announcing a grant from the U.S. Department of Defense, just over $12.9 million US. Very exciting times for you. And really, Dan, I want to start with this is really them saying, hey, this technology is something that we really need in North America.
Yeah, look, DoD's due diligence not only confirms the really the emergent market need for LFP and its importance for strong industrial base for energy security, but it also recognizes Nano One, all the efforts we put in, our deep know-how, our strategic objectives, our the advantages we have with the one pot LFP process, and of course the assets we have in Quebec and how that can really help accelerate the adoption of LFP and accelerate a secure supply chain for North American purposes.
Yeah, maybe you could talk a bit about that and what you plan to use that capital for, because I imagine the lion's share will be going into Quebec and at the Candiac plant.
Well, look, the awards broadly focused on improving, obviously, energy security, as we said, with some of it coming to our operations here in Burnaby, BC, and the Lions portion of it going towards what we're doing in Quebec. As you know from previous interviews, we have a facility there that actually was built over 10 years ago. We repurposed it with the one pot process. We brought it back up to speed in pilot mode at about 200 tons. That's still about 1/10 of its existing capacity, but it enables us to do testing and evaluation and third-party work towards offtake with some of our strategic partners and some of our potential customers of the future. What the DoD funding allows us to do is bring that plant back up to closer to nameplate, up into the many hundreds of tons, into the thousands of tons of capacity. And that will not only accelerate our ability to offtake relatively small volumes of material, generate revenues for the company, but really to kickstart the LFP supply chain in North America.
When you were in discussions with the U.S. Department of Defense, what is it they liked about what Nano One was doing and thought this was a great way to utilize capital in order to increase the speed of getting this done?
Well, I think one of the great advantages we have, look, we have an existing asset. It's already paid for, a relatively small investment to bring online, many thousands of tons of capacity for use in North America. So that's one of the really attractive things. Obviously, our deep know-how. We have probably the most experienced team outside of Asia on the LFP front, and that's very attractive. And our one pot process really is designed to be able to decouple from the Chinese supply chain. So we do not rely on the iron sulfate that is really at the base of Chinese LFP, and that really it really solves a number of different problems. One, by using locally sourced raw material iron inputs, we can decouple from that iron sulfate. By doing that, we eliminate all of the associated wastewater and all the associated sulfate waste. So big environmental improvement and a big cost improvement too, because you don't need to build that iron sulfate intermediate plant here in North America. So it's cost competitive with China, it's environmentally competitive, and it brings about a secure North American supply chain for the energy transition.
And lastly, Dan, what does an investment of this type of capital do for speed? Does that obviously put you way ahead of where you had planned to be before, or does it put you in the perfect timetable?
Look, I think it definitely accelerates what we're doing. It enables us to invest into the plant today to bring it up to maximize its capacity, really optimize what we have today. It puts us way ahead of our colleagues who are also coming into the LFP space. We already have the only facility right now, and now we're going to be able to bring it up to a capacity that is literally years ahead of anybody else, using technology that won't have the risks that are associated with importing Chinese technology, which is largely what our competition is doing.
Dan, congratulations on this. Very exciting. Over 13 million, almost $13 million from the U.S. Department of Defense. Very, very huge milestone for the company. And we appreciate your time. Thanks.
Well, thank you. It's a real boost in the arm, and I appreciate the attention towards it. Thank you.
Absolutely. Dan Blundell, the CEO of Nano One Materials Corp.